In this video, we'll go over all of WoW news from the past week and try to compress it into a bite-sized video. This week is Wrath of the Lich King Time Walking Dungeons. If you have alts, this is a really good way to get them some starter gear, as it was upgraded since the last time LK Time Walking was rotated in. Also, the Dark Moon Fair is in town this week. They added a new mount to it a few months back, which needs quite a bit of tickets to unlock. Also, a mini-holiday called Moonkin Festival will be taking place on Sunday this week. I think you'll just get a baby Moonkin to follow you around for a day, so head over to Moonglade on Sunday to check it out. Blizzard announced the Antorus raid will be coming out on November 28th, which is about 3 weeks away from the day this video comes out. Now on to the big stuff. Last week was Blizzcon, and with that, a lot of announcements came out. I'll be going over most of them in summarized ways, as this is the bite-sized WoW news. First off, Blizzard announced Classic servers. Classic servers will try to give the vanilla experience, and are so far nowhere near done or ready to come out. It was literally just an announcement that they're going to start doing them. Don't expect it to come out for at least a couple of years. The next WoW expansion was also announced, called the Battle for Azeroth. The expansion will start out with the Horde burning down Tedrassil and the Alliance taking Undercity. The islands of Kulturas and Zandalar will be the new places to explore and quest on, similar to the Broken Shore for Legion. The old world will scale in levels. So, starting zones will scale with your level until like level 20 or something, for example. And then you have to move on to a higher level zone if you hadn't finished it yet. Also, the Burning Crusade and Wrath will both be 60 to 80 scaling zones. So you no longer have to go to Outlands first before Northrend. Or you can just stay in Outlands all the way until you hit level 80. Plans for this scaling were said to be added to Legion in the next patch, so you don't have to wait for the new expansion for this new scaling. The new artifact system is currently planned to be a necklace that will unlock basically talents as we have them today, where you pick one of 3, instead of just like the artifact system where you unlock everything eventually. This system will also extend to 3 other pieces of gear. 3-player scenarios are coming back in the form of island explorations. We haven't had any real 3-player scenarios since Mist of Pandaria, despite it being a well-liked addition from that expansion. New 20-man mode called Warfronts will also be added, which are very similar to RTS games in that everyone works together to gather resources to build forces to help you take the map. World PvP will be turned into a toggle on and off function, so there will be no need for PvP servers anymore. As someone who plays on a PvP server because that's where my friend played, I'm very glad about this change because I personally don't like PvP servers, despite playing on one. Azshara was said to be making an appearance in this expansion. Azshara has been a big threat to the world since launch, so it's nice to finally being able to tackle her story. Allied races were announced. These will be 3 new races for each faction that can be unlocked after completing a quest line or something at max level, and are essentially just 6 new races to choose from. Horde will be getting High Mountain Tauren, Nightborn, and the Zandalari Trolls. Alliance will be getting Void Elves, Lightforged Draenei, and Dark Iron Dwarves. Now, the Alliance races make sense, seeing as Dark Iron Dwarves are already part of the Alliance. Lightforged Draenei have been fighting with Turalyon for thousands of years, who is super diehard Alliance. And same thing with Illyria and the Void Elves. But the Horde ones have me scratching my head a bit. The High Mountain Taurens have no reason to join the Horde, outside of the fact that we already have regular Tauren in the Horde, who also don't really have a reason to be in the Horde, other than the fact that they're located in the middle of Horde territory. If anything, it would make more sense for them to be Alliance, so that the Alliance could get access to Tauren models. But they are currently planned to have a Bull Charge racial, which I'm excited to use, which seems to be a warrior charge ability, only as a racial. Also, Lightforged Draenei are planned to have a racial similar to Tyrael's from Heroes of the Storm, where you blow up on death and do AoE. Now back to the Horde races. The Zandalari Trolls also have no reason to join the Horde currently, other than the fact that we already have a single tribe of trolls working with the Horde. The Zandalari don't particularly like either faction for a lot of reasons, and they've been involved in a lot of conflict in WoW's history, including the whole thing with resurrecting Laishan the Thunderlord back in Miss. Also, when all of the troll tribes united to try to take over the world back in Cataclysm, Vol'jin was the only one to decline their offer of a troll alliance. Plus, the trolls traditionally do not like the Blood Elves for kind of kicking them out of that spot and building their Sunwell in their homeland. I mean, they didn't really kick out the Zandalari trolls in a different troll tribe, but most trolls don't like the Blood Elves for that. So I'm interested in seeing how Blizzard handles their integration into the Horde. As for the Nightborn, the Night Elves don't like them. So if they were to join a faction, Horde is really all they have. After all, the whole deal with the Nighthold was the High Elves throwing their lot in the Legion for a second time. Even if we did technically help out the Rebels in that fight, the fact stands that a majority of their population sided with the Legion again. Plus, Tyrande was mean to them, and Lady Lialdrin was super nice to them. So of course they side with the Horde. I didn't really need to explain that. I only really had a problem with High Mountain Taurens and Zandalari trolls. Also, this is supposed to be a brief news show and not an in-depth one ripe with personal opinions, so moving on. In a Q&A, Blizzard confirmed a stat and item squish, similar to the one done in Warlords of Draenor. Unique raid buffs plan to make a return. Blizzard said they like the feeling of buffing up before a raid and want to bring it back, as currently all we do before a raid is eat food and drink a flask. Jaina is confirmed to not be a villain and just a flawed character, which is a nice confirmation to have because, as someone who reads all the WoW books, this is common knowledge. But you never know how Blizzard will change a character in the future based on fan opinions. If anyone shows any kind of negative emotion, everyone will automatically assume they're the next Garrosh. Flying in Battle for Azeroth will be unlocked in the same way it was for Legion and WoD, through a long and hard to get achievement. There are plans to increase the default backpack size with a gimmick to maybe increase the size if you have an authenticator or something. Players will get 6 new playable slots per realm, but as someone who's constantly character capped at 50, I'd be much more interested if they allowed you to make more than 50 characters per account. But I mean, 6 new slots for each realm is a pretty big addition. They've never added more than 1 at a time in previous expansions, even in expansions where they released 2 new races. There was a lot more information given out at BlizzCon, but I only really mentioned the important stuff here. The smaller YouTuber shoutout for this week will be the Lost Codex. I don't know why this channel is still small. It's the highest quality WoW videos on YouTube. It is pretty much the gold standard to compare yourself to. But because the videos are so high quality, they can't release videos too often, which doesn't play nice with YouTube's algorithm. Which is really the only reason I can think of that their sub count is still on the low side. So check them out if you haven't already. And with that, I'll see you all next week.